What if I told you that the reason money keeps slipping through your fingers has nothing to do with your salary, your spending habits, or the economy? What if the real problem is something you carry with you every single day, something you reach for dozens of times a week without ever suspecting it's working against you? I know how that sounds. But stay with me because what I'm about to share with you has been quietly practiced by Jewish families across generations. Through wars, through exile, through financial collapse after financial collapse, and it has never stopped working. My name isn't important. What is important is this. For the past 4 decades, I have dedicated my life to studying the intersection of ancient Jewish wisdom and practical financial reality. My father was a scholar of Talmudic law. His father before him taught in a yeshiva in Eastern Europe, and his father before that passed down oral teachings that never made it into any book available to the general public. What I carry is not academic knowledge. It is living wisdom, the kind that gets tested in the real world, refined through real hardship, and proven across real generations. And today I'm going to give you a piece of it for free. Specifically, I'm going to tell you about 3 items that observant Jewish families who have quietly built and preserved wealth across centuries, refuse to keep inside their wallets. Not because of superstition, not because of tradition for tradition's sake, but because of a deep, sophisticated understanding of how financial energy actually moves through your life. By the time you finish reading this, you will understand exactly what these 3 items are, why they are so destructive, and what you need to do tonight. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight, to stop the financial bleeding that may have been happening to you for years without your knowledge. Before we get to the 3 items, you need to understand something foundational, something that shifts the entire framework through which you see money. In mainstream Western culture, a wallet is a container, a storage device. You put things in it, you take things out of it, and it holds whatever you decide to put there without judgment, without consequence. Jewish mystical tradition, specifically the teachings preserved in Kabbalistic literature, sees things very differently. The Kabbalah teaches that every physical vessel carries an energetic function. A vessel is not passive. It actively shapes whatever is placed inside it, and it is shaped in return by what it contains. The relationship between container and content is dynamic, reciprocal, and spiritually significant. Your wallet, under this framework, is not a storage container. It is an active financial vessel, a living instrument that either amplifies the energy of wealth or diminishes it depending on what you allow to occupy it. This idea isn't as foreign to modern thinking as it might initially seem. Physicists have long understood that matter is not as solid or as inert as it appears. At the subatomic level, everything is vibration, everything is frequency, and frequencies interact. They either harmonize or they interfere with each other. The ancient rabbis understood this principle through spiritual observation long before it was confirmed through scientific instruments. What they codified through centuries of careful observation was essentially a map of which frequencies harmonize with the energy of prosperity and which ones disrupt it. The 3 items I'm about to describe fall firmly in the second category. They are, according to both Talmudic principles and Kabbalistic energy science, active disruptors of financial flow. And the moment you remove them, you remove an obstacle that may have been quietly redirecting wealth away from you for longer than you realize. Before I reveal the 3 items, I want to address something that many people wonder about, but few ask directly. Jewish communities have demonstrated a remarkable capacity to rebuild financial stability, even after being stripped of everything: property, businesses, savings, entire livelihoods, through persecutions and exiles that spanned continents and centuries. Many people attribute this to intelligence, to networking, to cultural emphasis on education. And while those factors are real, they explain only part of the picture. Because plenty of highly educated, well-networked people struggle financially. Plenty of tight-knit communities with strong cultural values still find themselves trapped in cycles of financial scarcity. What runs deeper is a spiritual relationship with wealth that is embedded in Jewish law and practice. The Torah and the Talmud contain extensive, specific, practical guidance about money. not just ethical principles about giving and fairness, but concrete instructions about how to relate to wealth at an energetic level. These instructions were never designed to be kept secret. They were simply never translated in a way that made them accessible to people outside the tradition. Until now. What I'm sharing today is a direct transmission of teachings that have passed through generations of my family. Practical applications of ancient wisdom that have been tested not in academic settings, but in real life, during periods of genuine economic hardship. Take your wallet out right now. If you're willing to be honest with yourself, there are probably receipts in there. Maybe a few, maybe more than a few. Folded, slightly crumpled. Some from days ago and some from months ago, that you keep meaning to clear out. In Kabbalistic teaching, every financial transaction leaves an energetic imprint. When money exchanges hands, when you pay for something, that moment creates a specific type of energy. It is the energy of departure, of outflow, of money moving away from you. The receipt is the physical record of that moment. It documents, in permanent form, the act of your money leaving. Now consider what happens when you collect those records and keep them pressed against your remaining money inside your wallet. You are surrounding whatever wealth you currently have with a growing archive of loss. Every receipt is essentially a monument to money that is gone. And from an energetic standpoint, you are programming your financial vessel to be a place where money goes and then leaves. The ancient teachers used an analogy that translates roughly like this. Keeping records of outflow next to your remaining wealth is like placing a river's current against itself. The flow that was meant to move toward you is being continuously redirected outward. Practical psychology supports this as well. The receipts you carry are constant, subliminal reminders of spending. Every time you open your wallet and catch a glimpse of them, your brain registers, below the level of conscious thought, the act of paying out. This subtly reinforces a spending identity rather than a receiving identity. The fix is simple but must be done completely. Tonight, remove every receipt from your wallet, every single one. If you need to retain a receipt for warranty or return purposes, create a separate designated folder for that purpose, somewhere entirely removed from your money. Your wallet should contain no record of money that is left. It should hold only what is present and what is incoming. This single act, repeated as a consistent habit, clearing receipts within 24 hours of any transaction, has transformed the financial trajectories of people I have worked with in ways that looked from the outside like luck. It isn't luck, it's alignment. This is the one that surprises people most. And it's also the one that generates the most resistance, because it feels counterintuitive at first. People carry photographs of their children, their spouses, their parents. It feels loving. It feels like a way of keeping the people who matter most close to you throughout the day. I understand that feeling. I felt it myself when I first encountered this teaching. And I'm not asking you to love your family any less. I'm asking you to understand something subtle and important about the nature of energetic mixing. The Kabbalah draws a sharp distinction between what it calls holy vessels and functional vessels. Holy vessels are dedicated to sacred emotional and relational purposes. They hold love, memory, connection, identity. Functional vessels are dedicated to specific practical purposes. They hold and direct a particular type of energy. When you place a holy object into a functional vessel, two things happen simultaneously. The functional vessel loses some of its focused clarity of purpose, and the holy object becomes subtly associated with the function of that vessel. Both are weakened. Both are diluted. Your wallet is a functional vessel dedicated to financial energy. A photograph of someone you love is a deeply personal, emotionally charged object. When you place it inside your wallet, you create an unconscious psychological and energetic bridge between your emotional life and your financial transactions. The consequences are more significant than they might appear. Every time you open your wallet, whether to pay for something, to check how much cash you have, or simply to retrieve a card, your eyes make contact, even briefly, with the faces of people you love, and your emotional system responds. It fires associations. It connects the act of spending with the feelings of love, connection, and care. This creates what behavioral psychologists would call an emotional spending trigger. Purchases that are unconsciously linked to feelings of love and connection become harder to resist. Impulse buying increases. Financial decisions that should be made with clear, rational judgment get muddied by emotional undercurrents. Remove the photographs from your wallet. Place them on your desk where you can see them while you work. Set them as the screensaver on your phone. Frame them in your home. Honor the people you love in spaces dedicated to love and relationship. But keep your financial vessel clean and singular in its purpose. Many people who have followed this instruction report, within weeks, a noticeable shift in how they relate to spending. The emotional compulsiveness softens. The clarity of financial decision-making sharpens. And interestingly, their relationships often improve as a side effect, because they stop unconsciously conflating love with money, and each begins to occupy its proper domain. This is the teaching that the ancient Kabbalistic texts address most specifically, and the one that carries the most concentrated energetic weight. Go through your wallet right now and look at every card you're carrying. Credit cards, debit cards, membership cards, insurance cards, loyalty cards, identification cards. Look at the expiration date on each one. Most people, if they're being honest, will find at least one or two cards that are no longer valid. Maybe an old gym membership that lapsed. Maybe a credit card that was replaced, but whose predecessor is still sitting in a back slot. Maybe a store membership that expired 6 months ago, but never got thrown away. In Kabbalistic tradition, there is a specific concept called the klipot, a term that translates roughly as shells or husks. The klipot represent the energetic residue of things that once held life and function, but no longer do. They are not neutral. They are not simply empty. They are actively disruptive. They draw on surrounding energy in an attempt to sustain themselves, pulling vitality away from living, functioning things. An expired card is, in Kabbalistic terms, a form of klipa, a husk. It once represented active financial relationship, real access, real function. The moment it expired, the living energy it carried departed. What remained was the shell, the physical object, still occupying space in your wallet and drawing on the energy of the active, living financial instruments around it. Think about what this means in practical terms. Every active card in your wallet represents a living financial relationship, a real line of credit, a real identity, a real membership in good standing. These are energetically alive, and sitting alongside them, in the same vessel, are cards that represent financial relationships that have ended, that are no longer valid, that carry the energetic signature of closure and termination. The ancient teaching is unambiguous on this point. You cannot attract new financial life into a vessel that contains dead matter. The presence of klipot in your financial vessel actively suppresses the vitality of everything around it. The action required here is more decisive than simply removing or relocating the expired cards. The Talmudic teaching on this specific point is that expired vessels must be fully released, not stored, not kept for sentimental reasons, not placed in a drawer for just in case. They must be destroyed. Cut them up, dispose of them completely. The act of physical destruction is itself a declaration, a statement to the energetic field that you are releasing what no longer serves you and making deliberate space for what is living, current, and growing. When I ask people to do this during consultations, the resistance I encounter is revealing. Many people feel an unexpected emotional attachment to expired cards. An old credit card from a company that gave them their first line of credit. A membership to a place that holds good memories. A card from a relationship that has since ended, but that still feels significant. That attachment is exactly the problem. When we hold on to the physical remnants of expired financial relationships, we are holding on to those relationships energetically. We are keeping a door open to the past instead of clearing space for the future. Release them, all of them, completely. Removing these 3 items is necessary, but it is not sufficient on its own. In Kabbalistic practice, clearing is only the first half of the process. The second half is consecration, the deliberate, intentional dedication of the now purified vessel to its highest function. After you have removed all receipts, all photographs, and all expired cards from your wallet, do the following on the morning after the clearing. Rise before the sun is fully up. This is not arbitrary. The period just before and just after sunrise carries what Kabbalistic tradition describes as a particularly receptive quality of light, a moment when the boundary between spiritual and material reality is thinner than at other times of day. Hold your wallet in your right hand. In Kabbalistic anatomy, the right side of the body corresponds to the energy of chesed, the quality of loving abundance and generous flow. Holding your wallet on your right side aligns it with this quality. Bring the wallet close to the center of your chest and speak these words with clear intention. This vessel is purified and consecrated. I am open to receive. Abundance moves freely into my life and through my life. As you speak these words, hold in your mind's eye an image of light entering the wallet. Not vague light, but warm, golden, specific light, filling every compartment, illuminating every corner. Hold this image with as much sensory detail as you can generate. Feel the warmth, see the glow. Sustain this focused image for a full minute, 60 uninterrupted seconds of pure, concentrated intention. Then place the wallet back in your pocket or bag and release your attention from it entirely. Do not monitor for results. Do not open it repeatedly to check whether something has changed. Trust the process and direct your energy toward the day ahead. What people typically report in the days following this practice is not usually a dramatic, sudden event. It is more often a quiet but unmistakable shift in the quality of their financial experience, a feeling of greater clarity when making money decisions, a reduction in the low-grade financial anxiety that had become their constant background noise. And then, within days or weeks, something concrete, an unexpected payment, an opportunity that arose without being pursued, a financial obligation that resolved itself in an unexpectedly favorable way. The shifts are real. The mechanism behind them is ancient, and the consistency with which they appear across thousands of individual cases, across different cultures, different income levels, and different life circumstances, confirms that something genuine is at work here. There is a passage in the Talmud that translates loosely as, "The blessing of the eternal enriches, and hard labor adds nothing to it." I want to be precise about what this means, because it is easily misunderstood. It does not mean that effort is worthless. It does not mean that you should stop working, stop building, stop taking action in your financial life. What it means is that effort alone, without alignment, without the proper energetic conditions, is not the source of wealth. It is only the channel. And a channel, no matter how wide or how well constructed, cannot carry water if the source has been blocked. This is the mistake that almost everyone in the modern world is making. They are working on the channel with extraordinary dedication while completely ignoring the source. They budget and save and invest and hustle, all of which are channel-level activities, while never addressing the spiritual conditions that determine whether wealth actually flows into their lives. The three items I've described today, old receipts, photographs, and expired cards, are blockages at the source level. They are not minor inconveniences or harmless clutter. They are active, energetic obstacles that disrupt the flow of financial abundance at the level where that flow is actually determined. Removing them doesn't replace effort. It restores the conditions under which effort can actually yield results, proportional to the work being invested. This is why people who follow this practice don't just feel better. They start seeing their hard work pay off in ways it never did before. The effort was always there. The alignment was missing. For the first several days after cleaning your wallet and performing the activation, pay attention to the quality of your financial experience without obsessing over outcomes. Notice how you feel when you reach for your wallet. Notice whether financial decisions feel clearer. Notice whether the anxiety that used to accompany money thoughts has shifted even slightly. Within the first week, most people who follow these steps precisely begin to see tangible evidence of change. Not always in the form of large sums of money arriving unexpectedly, though that does happen. More often in the form of financial relationships correcting themselves, debts that were disputed getting resolved, invoices that had been ignored getting paid, opportunities that had been stuck beginning to move. Within 30 days, something more fundamental shifts. The relationship with money itself changes. The unconscious scarcity programming that drove so many decisions, the impulse spending, the financial avoidance, the sense of helplessness in the face of financial pressure begins to dissolve. In its place, a quiet confidence develops, a sense that money is available, that abundance is the natural state, and that you are no longer working against invisible forces. This is not a temporary effect. It is a permanent recalibration, as long as you maintain the practice. And maintaining it is simple. Clear receipts within 24 hours. Keep no photographs in your wallet. Destroy expired cards immediately upon receiving their replacements. Repeat the activation ritual whenever the wallet has been emptied for cleaning, or whenever you feel your financial energy needs reorientation. That's it. That is the entirety of the maintenance practice. Simple, consistent, and, when taken seriously, genuinely transformative. 3 cautions before you put this into practice. First, once you have removed these items, do not allow them to re-enter your wallet. This is not a one-time spring cleaning. It is a new standard of care for your financial vessel. The moment you slide a receipt into your wallet, intending to deal with it later, you have reopened the drain. Financial energy is patient, but it is also honest. It will reflect whatever conditions you maintain, consistently and without exception. Second, practice this quietly. The Talmud contains extensive wisdom about the destructive power of premature disclosure, sharing an intention or a practice before it has had time to take root and bear fruit. When you share spiritual practices with people who are skeptical or dismissive, their doubt and their mockery create an energetic interference pattern that can genuinely undermine your work. Let the results arrive first. Then, if you choose to share, you will be sharing from a position of demonstrated reality rather than unproven hope. Third, examine your intentions honestly before you begin. These principles operate in harmony with the deeper laws of creation, which means they respond to the quality of intention behind them. If your drive toward wealth is rooted in the desire to accumulate for its own sake, to surpass others out of pride, or to hold resources without sharing or serving, the spiritual laws will not support that aim. Abundance, in the framework of Jewish wisdom, is never purely personal. It flows to those who are prepared to be channels for it, not just containers of it. Wealth held in service of a larger purpose attracts more wealth. Wealth hoarded in fear contracts and diminishes. Come to this practice with genuine intention, the desire for stability, for security, for the ability to care for those you love and contribute to the world around you. And the laws will work with you in ways that will continue to surprise you. You now understand 3 things that Jewish families have known for generations, and that most of the financial world has completely ignored. Old receipts do not belong in your wallet. They are energetic records of outflow, documents of departure that surround your remaining wealth with the frequency of money leaving. Remove them nightly, discard them entirely, or store them in a separate location dedicated to that purpose alone. Photographs do not belong in your wallet. They import emotional energy into a vessel designed for financial energy, diluting both and creating unconscious spending triggers that drive impulsive, emotionally motivated financial decisions. Honor your loved ones in spaces dedicated to relationship, not in the vessel dedicated to wealth. Expired cards do not belong in your wallet. They carry the energetic signature of klipot, dead husks that drain vitality from the living financial instruments surrounding them. They must not merely be moved, but destroyed, releasing their dead energy completely and declaring space for what is current, alive, and growing. Clean your wallet tonight. Perform the activation tomorrow morning. Maintain the practice with consistency, and then pay attention, because what follows will not look like coincidence to anyone who understands what you've just put into motion.